There is a kind of silence that feels peaceful on the surface, quiet, controlled, mature, a silence you learn to wear like armor. You don't interrupt. You don't react immediately. You don't reveal what hurts you. You don't say what you need. And for a long time, this felt like strength. Because once upon a time, silence kept you safe. It protected you from arguments that went nowhere, from emotions that overwhelmed the room, from authority figures who punished honesty, from relationships where being seen meant being hurt. So you adapted. You became observant instead of expressive, composed instead of reactive, internally rich, externally minimal. But here is the paradox no one warned you about. What once protected you is now the very thing being used against you. Your silence is no longer neutral. It is being interpreted, filled in, controlled. People project intentions onto you because you don't clarify. They dominate conversations because you don't resist. They rewrite narratives because you don't correct them. They decide your role because you never claim one. And slowly, quietly, you feel something familiar returning. That old sense of invisibility, that quiet erasure, that feeling of being present but not included. You start wondering, why do people misunderstand me? Why do I feel overlooked? Why do I feel manipulated without anything ever being said? Because silence is not empty. Silence is a psychological space. And whoever understands that space controls it. To understand how silence becomes a tool of manipulation, we have to go deeper than behavior. We have to look at nervous systems, attachment patterns, and early emotional environments. Let's begin with emotional neglect. Emotional neglect is not what happened to you. It's what didn't happen. No one mirrored your inner world. No one helped you name your feelings. No one made consistent space for your emotional expression. So your nervous system adapted by going inward. This often leads to hypervigilance, a state where your brain is constantly scanning for shifts in mood, tone, power, and danger. You learn to read the room instead of speaking to it. Then comes avoidant or dismissive attachment, not because you don't want closeness, but because closeness once felt unsafe, unreliable, or conditional. So you regulate yourself through distance, through silence, through self-containment. Neurologically, this impacts the default mode network, the part of the brain responsible for self-referential thinking. You spend a lot of time inside your head, rehearsing, reflecting, predicting outcomes, while your outer voice grows quieter. And then there's parentification, emotional or psychological. You learned early that your role was to manage the emotional climate, not express your own needs. Silence became maturity. Restraint became love. Compliance became safety. Here's the crucial shift. In childhood, silence was adaptive. In adulthood, it becomes exploitable because people who understand power dynamics recognize something immediately. The quiet person is often the most accommodating, and accommodation is leverage. The cost of silence is not loud. It doesn't announce itself with breakdowns or chaos. It shows up as invisible grief. The grief of the self you never fully expressed, the words you swallowed, the boundaries you never voiced, the version of you that stayed internal, forever unfinished. Carl Jung warned us, what is not made conscious will be lived out as fate. Silence turns your inner world into fate, because when you don't speak your truth, others decide it for you. You begin trading authenticity for acceptance, presence for peace, expression for stability, and beneath it all lies a core fear. If I speak, I will be rejected. If I need, I will be abandoned. If I rest, I will be replaced. So you endure. Seneca wrote about this kind of suffering, the quiet endurance of unnecessary pain, not inflicted by life but by beliefs we never question. And Rilke understood it deeply when he wrote about living inside unanswered questions. You become someone who feels deeply, thinks profoundly, but lives cautiously. You exist, but half muted. And the manipulation doesn't come through aggression, it comes through assumption. They assume you're okay. They assume you agree. They assume you don't mind. They assume you'll adjust. And because you've survived by adjusting before, you do it again. This is how silence shapes adult life. You might recognize yourself here in relationships. You attract dominant or emotionally avoidant partners, people who take up space easily. You become the listener, the stabilizer, the emotional container, while your needs remain unspoken. In communication, you explain yourself after you've been misunderstood, instead of asserting yourself early. You clarify instead of confront. You soften truths to keep harmony. In boundaries, you feel guilty setting limits. You wait until resentment builds, then withdraw silently, instead of addressing issues directly. In career or school, you are competent but overlooked, reliable but invisible. You do more than asked, say less than needed, and wonder why recognition doesn't come. In emotional regulation, you intellectualize feelings instead of expressing them. You analyze instead of feel. You stay calm externally while tension lives in your body. In identity, you struggle to answer the question, "What do I want?" because you spent years adapting to what others needed. None of these are flaws. They are coping mechanisms. But here is the turning point. Coping mechanisms that are not updated become limitations. Unlearning silence does not mean becoming loud. It means becoming accurate. Accurate with your needs, accurate with your limits, accurate with your inner truth. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. 5. Healing and closing. 3 to 4 minutes. Healing from the manipulation of silence is not about confrontation. It's about reconnection. Reconnecting with the part of you that learned to disappear to survive. This is where inner child work begins, not by reliving pain, but by offering permission. Permission to speak, to need, to take up space without earning it. Shadow work helps you integrate the parts of you labeled too much, inconvenient, or unnecessary. The voice you buried is not dangerous, it is untrained, and it needs gentleness. And most importantly, nervous system regulation. You don't find your voice by forcing confidence. You find it by teaching your body that expression is safe. Start small, name preferences, state limits early, pause instead of disappearing. Choose softness over survival, because silence is not wisdom when it costs you yourself. And here is the truth. Few people say clearly, your presence does not need to be justified. Your voice does not need permission. Your needs are not a burden. As Jung also said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who you learn to be to survive, but who you are when survival is no longer the goal. And remember this as you move forward. The goal is not to be fixed, but to become whole.